Good afternoon. We are here for the second project in our March 2021 product play series. And today's project, we are going to be featuring the Dandy Garden Suite from Stampin' Up. You can always access everything that you need to know on my blog, which is myflutterbymoments.com. You can print off the project sheet over there. It gives you all of your dimensions and all of the supplies needed to make today's card. So let's get started. Today we're going to be featuring these two stamp sets. This is what we call a mega suite, where you have a lot more product in the suite than just a stamp set. This one has two stamp sets. The Dragonfly Garden stamp set also has a punch that bundles with it, and the Garden Wishes stamp set has a die set that bundles with it. So we're actually going to be using pieces from both of these stamp sets today. Here, let's take a look at the card that we will be making. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Now, I have to be honest with you. This suite and this style of stamp set is not my favorite. And I was given the Garden Wishes stamp set, and then the Dragonfly Garden stamp set was used in a training, so that's why I ended up with both of them. But I challenged myself to use it again because I always like to challenge myself to use stamp sets that are not necessarily my cup of tea, because it, I think, helps me to grow as a crafter. So anyway, this is what I came up with today. I'll be honest, dandelions are not my favorite either, but it was kind of fun to play around. And I do love the paper in this suite. I do think it's beautiful paper. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin with a rich raspberry card base, which measures 5.5 by 8.5. It's folded in half. And the first thing we're going to do on our card base is take, in the one stamp set, there is a set of little dragonfly or butterfly type image. So we're going to take our rich raspberry ink and stamp on our card base with that. So I'm going to begin down here in the corner, and I'm going to kind of stamp on an angle so that it goes up like this across the page. I'll stamp like that. And then, instead of worrying about the center because it's going to be covered, I'm just going to come over here to the top and re-stamp again. Okay? So it kind of creates that diagonal direction. Next, we have, I think we'll go ahead and finish our stamping up. We'll set that aside for a minute. We've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock that measures 3 by 4. Okay. And this is where we're going to stamp our dandelion. So I'm going to bring in some Memento black ink and ink up my dandelion stamp. Make sure you get that really good. All right. We'll go ahead and stamp that off to the left side, like that. And then it comes with a stamp that shows the dandelion. Now, dandelions as a kid were fun, right? As the adult of the yard, I don't really love them, but as a kid, they were so fun to pick, especially when they were white, and you would blow on them. So that's what that is that's showing the little seeds blowing off into the wind. And then, let's see what else we've got going on here. We also need to stamp a dragonfly. I think I might have used, yep, I used the wrong one. This was my scrap for the dragonfly, silly me. Okay, we'll start over. So this measures 2 3/4 by 4. They're about the same size, so we'll start again. We'll re-stamp our dandelion. And our little seeds in the wind, like that. Okay, and then we need to stamp for a friend. This is stamped in, or for a true friend, this is stamped in Mossy Meadow. You can get that stamped down here at the bottom. Okay. All right. And then we need to stamp the yellow part of our dandelion. It comes with actually a centerpiece that you can just stamp that yellow to give it some color. All right, and then I need to stamp my dragonfly. My dragonfly is going to be in black as well. Okay, so stamp that right here, like that. All right, now, this is the fun part of the card. We're going to do a little bit of coloring with some blender pens. If you don't know what blender pens are like a clear marker. So they have two sides. They're basically, it's like there's clear ink in there supposedly, and you can use them on whatever color of ink you need. So I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow first, and I'm just going to squeeze my ink pad, and then when I open it up, you can see it leaves ink on the lid of the ink pad, and that becomes my kind of like my ink palette. So I'm just going to take and run my marker into that, and I'm going to kind of color it out a little bit because I don't want the color to be so focused in the beginning. And then you just take it and run it. It's like a marker, but it kind of looks like watercoloring. It's very controlled watercoloring. So if you're not very comfortable with watercoloring, this is a great way to begin. You just go in and color out the color into the leaves here. Now some of you may be asking, why would I do this over just using the marker itself that is this color? And the reason being is because this is just a softer look than the actual marker would give me, and that's why I chose to go this way. So let's color in. All right, now the great thing about blender pens is you can just color the ink right out of them. So like I just go like this and it colors it right out until you can't see anything anymore. And then I can go ahead and use that on a different color. Now for the sake of my video, I'm just going to use, I have a different one that I'm going to use for my dragonfly. And my dragonfly, we're going to do the same thing with my rich razzleberry. Squeeze that and then pop it. And taking color out some of our color. Now with the dragonfly, I actually tried coloring the dragonfly several different ways. And in the end, I decided to just take, and I'm just going to kind of scribble down the center of the dragonfly. I'm not coloring in the whole thing, because dragonfly wings are kind of translucent, and so that kind of gives it color, but it doesn't, kind of gives the effect of being translucent a little bit as well. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So I'll take and color in like that. Okay, so that's all we have to do for the dragonfly. And then once again, you just sit and color. The purple comes out, it's a little harder to come out. You see, once again, you just color it out, and then you can use those markers. They come in a set of 3 from Stampin' Up, and so you can have endless fun coloring with them for a long time. All right, and they last a long time too. I honestly just barely bought my second set, and I've been doing this for over 10 years, so that's how long they last. Okay, now going back to our card, we are going to use the Dragonfly Punch to punch out our dragonfly here. Make sure that is lined up and punch. Okay, and then we also need a second dragonfly. So I'm using this DSP from the paper pack, because I want it to look like a shadow of the dragonfly. Okay, that's kind of what the idea is behind it. Okay, and then we also need 2 pieces of paper. These both measure 3 1/4 by 4, so they're the same size. I'll bring this back in here like this. And then first we're going to lay down the one. This has like little dandelions all over it. So lay that one down first. Center it on our card. Now keep in mind, if you want to try making these projects, there is a kit for sale. It's $25 and you get a sampling of all the Dandy Garden Suite and a sampling of the Ice Cream Corner Suite this month. So head to my blog, there's information on there how to get the kit. And it's a fun little way to get a little bit of it but not have to buy everything. So, all right. So I can line that up like that, okay? And then this is on dimensionals, which are right here. Okay. I'm at the very end of my dimensionals. I use up every little piece of my dimensionals. All right. So take that off and put this on our card. I think, let's bring this down a little. Okay. There we go. Okay, and then next, before we put our dragonfly on, I'm gonna take some Wink of Stella and just color in the wings. I want them to be really shimmery. My Wink of Stella pen is kind of drying up. Give it a good go. Okay. Lots of shimmer. Okay. And then I'm going to take the other dragonfly that I punched out. I'm going to take some dimensionals and I'm going to actually cut that in half. Where's my scissors? Over here. I'm going to take and just use one dimensional. Just lay that in the center of that there. And then I'm going to put this little guy on top, and I'm not setting it directly over. I'm kind of offsetting it just a little bit so that you can kind of see the shadow underneath. And I'm kind of bending the wings up a little bit so it looks like it's flying. And then I'm just going to take and run some adhesive along the bottom to glue it to my card. I have the dragonfly going like that. And then last, but certainly not least, as part of the Dandelion Suite, we have these very cute little ladybugs. They're so fun. They're very tiny, but I'm going to take one and I'm going to use a glue dot. And basically the whole glue dot fits right underneath that ladybug. So put it on like that. Peel it off, and then my little ladybug is going to come over here and sit on the flower, or excuse me, the leaf, like that. Okay, so that's how you make today's card from the Dandy Garden Suite. Once again, if you want all the details, head over to my blog post at myflutterbymoments.com and you can get everything you need there. Thanks for stopping by.